Welcome to Youth Voices Baltimore, a community conversation, part of the American Graduate Let's Make It Happen initiative. I'm your host, Karen Gibbs. The graduation rate for Baltimore City is the lowest in the state. And while the situation has improved dramatically over the last several years, there is still a long way to go. At MPT, we feel the key to gaining a broader and more complete understanding of the issues facing Baltimore's at-risk youth is to listen to their personal stories firsthand. Last year, we partnered with Wide Angle Youth Media to give voice to these young people through video. Today, clips from some of these videos will provide the context for our conversation. Joining us in our studio are some of Baltimore's young people ready to share their thoughts, and many of the organizations and educators dedicated to helping them stay on track. Together, we'll discuss the dropout crisis in Maryland, the importance of mentorship in the lives of our young people, and what we can do to help Baltimore's youth begin their lives with hope and opportunity. First, we'll hear from Tysel. In this clip, Tysel shares how struggling with identity as a result of both internal turmoil and outside pressure made graduation seem like a daunting task. Let's take a look.
I was also constantly discouraged by relatives in my extended family who doubted my ability to graduate. It really made me disheartened because when I wasn't able to find peace in my school, I couldn't even rely on my larger family for their support. My mom and grandma, however, always had my back. My mom never graduated from high school, and because of that, she always motivated me to believe in myself and to make it through graduation. My grandmother also encouraged me to be myself and to remember the role I played for my younger siblings. Because of their faith, I eventually realized it was okay not to have everything figured out, as long as I continued to work towards bigger goals like reaching high school and moving on to college. Graduation became more than just celebrating completing requirements and passing my classes. Graduation became a celebration to accept myself. My high school diploma is a reminder to myself what I can achieve if I give myself a chance. It's a reminder to all the people who discouraged me from reaching graduation and all the people that encouraged me. My name is Tysel Jackson, and I'm a work in progress.
Tysel Jackson, youth producer with Wide Angle Youth Media, and Mawish Raza, the lead instructor of Wide Angle Youth Media. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Tysel, let me start with you, because you said your mom and grandmom always had your back. How did they support you in your effort to graduate?
They stayed in my life mostly, and when you grow up, your parents leave a bigger impact, especially parents who actually stayed. Like some in Baltimore City, fathers aren't always in their lives, but as long as you have some support system, you'll be able to get through.
The support was really critical.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, you said you were a work in progress, and we all are. How did this project help you find your voice?
This project helped me find my voice simply by expressing myself. I got to express myself through the whole video with a bunch of different looks I made or created, and it's given me an opportunity to go to different places with it.
So what's next for you?
It's college. I'm also working on a few projects by myself, and then I'm also working with an organization, Wide Angle Youth Media, as well.
And these projects came through your interaction with Wide Angle Youth Media?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Tell me about Wide Angle Youth Media and why it's so important to tell our story through media.
Absolutely. Well, Wide Angle Youth Media is a nonprofit. We work with students across Baltimore City, middle school, high school, youth primarily, to give them opportunities to learn different forms of media and learn how to produce their own projects. So our projects get shown at film festivals, they get shared with audiences around the world. Students have the ability to work through our classes and join our production team, where then they are working with clients and creating these projects and being served as employees. And it's really important for students to have this platform to share the different ideas that they have, to share stories about their community, because at the end of the day, our students, our youth, are best fit to share the stories of Baltimore, because they come from the communities, they live these experiences, they live in these neighborhoods, they know their people most.
how important is it to form partnerships within the community for our youth to tell their story?
Extremely important. I mean, this project, as an example, wouldn't have been done without the support of all the different organizations that are working so hard to support our youth in the city. These organizations are like a support system for students, and working together, we're just creating a stronger impact for what students can accomplish.
I know that you, of course, partner with Maryland Public Television, but I also know you do things with Enoch Pratt and maybe even Center Stage. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So Enoch Pratt is one of our supporters and our partners to help having programs across the city. So we have our middle school sites across the city, work with different neighborhoods to have different projects that reflect different communities and what different students have to say about those communities.
Is it just community-centric, or can you even expand it to looking at the world and our role in global communities?
Absolutely. I mean, Baltimore City is a fraction of this world, and in a previous semester, one of our classes actually partnered with a city in Bulgaria. So they created this global partnership where they were sending audio files and learning how similar their lives were here and there. So what students say about Baltimore, they learned that it was very relevant to what students were experiencing in Bulgaria.
What was your biggest hindrance in trying to get partnerships? What was the hardest part?
It's a difficult question. I feel like there's many more advantages of working with different organizations. Each organization has a different issue that they're working with. They have a different mission that they're trying to accomplish. So I think what may be a problem at times is just scheduling. Seeing how we can both support each other in the best way to support students and be respectful with the way that both of us are campaigning our efforts.
Is it ever very difficult for them to get to buy into the idea of helping our students express their voice?
I fortunately haven't had that, I haven't seen that misunderstanding or difference amongst organizations. I feel like organizations are typically very on board with finding ways to express students, if they're comfortable, of course. Wide Angle isn't going to put a student on the spot if they're not in a space to talk about a story or a personal experience that they've had. And the organizations that represent those students will make that clear to us as well.
Mawish Raza, Tysel Jackson, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your story.
Thank you.
Well, now we might go to the audience and see if we've got any comments. Anyone have a question or a comment that they'd like to share with us? Yes, I see you've got something to say. Yes, you.
I actually have a question. So, like, do most of your projects have to be by yourself, or can you, like, work it in groups? And what type of projects do you do in your community?
Absolutely. So we can both answer that question, I think. We work with groups, so in a class we typically have 12 students. They come up with the idea on their own, and the instructors help enforce different skills and the different ways to produce these projects. Tysel can talk a little bit about how her project was produced.
Well, I worked with Mavish, and she basically produced my whole project, and I just helped her edit it through it. And then some of the projects that we do can be done by yourself, and you can just ask for help from the Wide Angle staff. But then it's a lot of group projects as well, because we get a lot of different base clientele. So it's all different projects come through the door.
So I guess what you're saying, it's important not only to have a support staff outside helping you, but a support staff as a group working toward a shared goal.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, now we'll see what else we can talk about. We'll hear from Danya. Now, in this clip, Danya describes the grief and pain she experienced in repeatedly losing her support system. Here's Danya's story.
I moved from foster to foster home and from school to school. Without my parents, I began to look for people who could guide me. During this search, I met my cousin. At age 11, my cousin took me in and became my guardian and caretaker. He was amazing and told me that he would always support me, but he lost his job, and to take care of us, he started selling drugs. He was shot 6 times in his back and killed. I felt as if the one person who cared about me was ripped away. I felt as if I too had been shot. I ended up moving to Virginia to get a fresh start, but I struggled to focus in school and failed all of my classes as a result of depression. I eventually moved back to Baltimore to live with my grandmother. When I moved back, I met a team of committed community organizers from the intersection that were recruiting youth leaders at my high school. I was sparked by their student leadership and advocacy and decided to join their mission. I've been able to use my story and my community to cultivate change, to empower myself and those around me.
Joining me now, Jamila Krempel, Director of Programming, The Intersection, and Takira White, a student at Coppin State University. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Jamila, tell me about the mission of The Intersection.
Well, the mission of The Intersection is to empower students, high school students in Baltimore, to find solutions to issues affecting themselves and issues affecting their communities, and to also prepare them for college or a career if that's what they choose to go into right after high school.
Why do you think leadership skills and civic action are important for students and young people and for our community?
I think it's important because if you look at voter turnout in the last mayoral election, it was somewhere like 11 or 12%. And that just goes to show that a lot of people in our city feel disconnected from people in positions of power, from elected officials. They feel ignored. And a lot of our students say that themselves. Even though that they are not of voting age, they feel just an even larger disconnection from our elected officials. And we really feel that it's important to start this relationship and to start having them engage with power from an early age so that they see that their voice makes a difference, that they can have direct impact on legislation, which our students have. They've helped pass at least 3 laws at this point, state and local laws. And so we really feel that it's important for them to see that they can make a difference now as young adults. And hopefully that relationship and that interaction, civic interaction will continue throughout their adulthood.
What can we do as a community to help our young people have their voices heard?
Give them opportunities certainly like this. Listen to them, listen to their stories, listen to their ideas. Give them a seat at the table. Oftentimes people want to hear from youth, but they don't want to give youth the opportunity to have some decision-making power, and that's really important with any issue that affects youth. They really want to feel like people just don't listen to them. They want to feel like they can make a difference and they can make change. So I would say have them sit down with you and hear what they have to say and give them a little bit of power to influence the decisions that are going to be made.
Give them a place at the table and let their voice be heard. Just that simple.
Yeah.
Takira, how did Intersection help you?
So I actually joined the Intersection back in 2011 when it first started. And back then, you know, I didn't really know exactly what the intersection was about. I didn't know much about, you know, the world around me, especially things that were going on in my community. And so in joining the intersection, I became much more involved in my community. And eventually it, you know, took a turn and helped me out in my schoolwork as well. So the intersection was not only a way for me to engage in my community, but was also a way for me to gain that, you know, that mentorship and different, you know, things that I needed to help me. So through the intersection, I was able to go to Civic because I had some problems with like reading and things like that. I have had, you know, tons of mentors and things like that I still keep in touch with, Jamila being one of them. And it's just been an overall great experience for me.
Now, I understand you're a sophomore at Coppin State.
I am.
Tell me, how's that going?
It's great. I love it there. I'm actually a transfer student from Stevenson University. This is my second year, and I'm studying early childhood education. I'm also on a dance team at Coppin called Y Rated, so things are looking very good.
Wow. Well, what would you say to someone that wants to help other youth? What would be your advice?
My advice would be very similar to Jamila's about the listening, but I think that listening is only half the battle, because you can only do but so much listening, you know. But it's the taking the action after you do that listening, and really taking that listening and turning it into something concrete and something that, you know, students can actually take away with them. So, like for instance, with the intersection, we've done ton of listening campaigns and things like that. And as a result of our most recent one, we've come up with our 235 Lives campaign, which was a campaign used to try to gain more youth jobs in Baltimore City. And so that was the listening campaign was very, very instrumental in that jobs campaign. But it's just an effect that needs to keep on going and not just stop after one thing is successful.
Yes, you got to keep it in the pipeline and keep it
Yeah.
going. Wonderful. Does that resonate with anyone in the audience? I see someone wanted to say something. Yeah. Love it when our young folks participate.
I agree with Miss Javai, I believe, about what she said about young children like me being able or needed to just sit down and talk, because sometimes we feel like we're not listened to because we just like blocked out so people don't understand us. So I agree with what she said about sometimes we need to just sit down and have a person to talk to.
I like that. Just listening to someone and letting them know that their ideas are respected are so important. Do we have another comment from the audience? Yes.
Going back to listening, I think it's also like when you gain momentum, when you want to listen and you want to make it concrete, like you said. You know, there is a YouTube video where a teacher just created on a sentence strip a very simple thing like, I want my teacher to know, and the things that she found out about her students. And, you know, we translated that into something that as leaders at our school, as administrators, what we wanted our students and our teachers to let us know. And it's just gained so much momentum within the school. And we're hoping to spread that kind of understanding. And again, going back to the listening phase and making sure that we know our students so we can make those concrete changes in their lives. So that's just the power of media. It's as simple as that.
I like the idea of an open-ended question so that it's not formulated. It's something that you can learn from just by leaving it and not making assumptions. Exactly. So thank you very much for your comments. I appreciate that. And thank you, Jamila and Takira. Thank you very much. Well, we've heard from some young adults about their struggles to graduate, but the path to success actually begins at a very early age. Let's take a look at some future graduates.
I am the class of 2029. I'm in the class of 2028. I'm in the class of 2028. I'm the class of 2028.
The road to graduation begins in the early years.
I'm an American graduate. I'm an American graduate. I am an American graduate.
Help pave the way for every child.
As part of the American Graduate Let's Make It Happen initiative, we salute members of our community who are committed to making the journey to graduation possible for many young people. Several of our American Graduate champions are here with us in the audience today, and Fitzgerald Walker joins me now to talk about the importance of mentorship. Fitzgerald, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Can you share a little bit of your story with our audience?
Sure. I dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. I'm a product of Baltimore City. And during that time, I lost my focus. So from the age of 17 to 27, I just had jobs, nowhere close to being careers. And I lost total focus. I had friends that I saw that was actually going to college. And I would go hang out on campus with them while they're going to class, and I've dropped out of high school. So my whole thought process was totally backwards. And I just got tired of living that particular way, not being qualified for anything to move on to have a career. So I decided at the age of 27 to go back and get my GED. So that was a little difficult because I was working and going to school at night. But to receive my high school diploma in the mail, that was the feeling that I'd been looking for. So from that moment, I decided to go to college. So I went to University of Maryland, University College, and I earned my bachelor's degree. So going across the stage created another feeling. So I was like, well, I need to do this again. So I went and earned my master's degree at the University of Maryland, University College. But during that process, I saw individuals willing to lend a hand and help because they saw that I was trying to do things. From in the past, if people saw me, they went the other way. So unlike today when you have caller ID, if I would call someone they didn't want to talk, they would just hang the phone up. So now being able to share my story and to let individuals know that regardless of how things look now, if you put together a plan and a blueprint and stick to it and change your thought process and your friends, you become an American graduate.
How does it feel to be an American graduate champion?
Well, actually, it's really great. This is actually better than graduation.
Oh, really? Oh, my.
I have a friend of mine that's here, and he believes he's never really done anything in this process. So understanding, having mentors that you can call and talk to, it's more than just getting a proper answer. It's being able to just having someone to listen that you know they have your best interests at heart. And even today, I'm a lot older than some of the little teenagers, but I still rely on sources when things are not going as good as they should be. So being a part of this is actually great.
What inspired you to be a mentor?
Giving back, being a product of Baltimore City. I think Baltimore City gets a bad name now, and I've always wanted to, once I turned my life around, I always wanted to make a difference. And I always wanted to make a difference in Baltimore City. So now being able to have individuals to see that you can do this, this to me is a sign of success. It's not about what society says or a title that I have at work or how much money you make. It's how you determine your own success, and this is it.
A great story. What would you say to others that want to help, are interested in helping at-risk youth in Baltimore?
Get on the internet, find organizations that work with at-risk youth. Sometimes they're gonna not take your phone call, they won't respond to your emails, but keep going. And eventually someone will. Everyone says they want help, but it's actually up to us to go out to make sure that the ones that actually want help, that we're there for them.
Get it, that's it. Wonderful to have you on. Thank you for sharing your story and how you created a support network and mentorship for others.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like now to take a moment to salute everyone here today committed to improving the lives of our young people. Members of the community can nominate these inspiring and passionate individuals as American Graduate Champions, and that would be to thank them for their service and encourage others to take action. If you'd like to nominate an American Graduate Champion, you can visit our website on the screen that you see right underneath to learn more. Now, this pretty much concludes our broadcast program, but please do visit americangraduate.mpt.org to hear the rest of today's conversation and to find out more about American Graduate. Let's make it happen. Well, this program is called Youth Voices because we want to hear from you. And because of that, we're going to open it up to the audience now, and particularly from the youth. What's some of your biggest challenges that you're facing now? And we've got a microphone we're going to come by.
Yeah, some of the challenges that I'm facing now is that one of my classes, math, that I'm not doing too good on. But now hearing your speech on determining your own success, I am now inspired to study more and participate more because I really want to be a performer when I grow up. So like when I get my high school diploma, and I can now go back and listen to what you said, and when I get older, that I know that I determine my own success by going the right way, not the wrong way.
Yes. Do you have anyone like a teacher or a tutor that is offering you support or a safety net? Excellent. Excellent. Do we have another comment? Yes.
I actually have a question. As a mentor, you know that a lot of times the media, what's portrayed in the media is like becoming a graduate isn't what's popular. It's become a drug dealer, become a baller, become a rapper. It's not all about go out and get that education. How do you help kids stray away from that mindset?
Well, you have to get them to understand what is cool to them. And I found out, once I started college, I found out the coolest thing was getting A's. And I actually made the dean's list twice. So I feel if you can get individuals to understand, your education will take you as far as you want to go. Because of my education, I'm here today. Without that, I'll be just a statistic. So you have to focus on what it is that you want, separate the news, put together a plan for you, and stick to it. It's not going to be easy, but that's the good part about it, because the harder it is, once it's completed, the better you feel.
Can you share with us a struggle that you may have had or a challenge that you overcame and how you did it?
Well, my biggest fear is not being the person that I see myself being in the future. And as a Black girl who depends on her friends and her family the most, it's like really hard to motivate myself to do what I need to do to become that successful young Black female that I see myself being. And because I struggle so hard in certain classes that I need really bad to graduate, I'm just like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? You know what? Forget it. I'm not going to do it anymore. And I have to really try so hard to keep on saying, come on, you can do this. You got this. Everyone's depending on you to be who you say you're going to be. You can't just say, I'm going to be this person and then just not do it. So
it's the follow-through again. Yeah. It's the follow-through. Thank you for your comment. We had another question back in the back. Young man, yes.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Samuel Gray. I go to Mervo, and one of my struggles is just the environment I grew up in, and like I see a lot in my community that I grew up in, and that's like a big struggle for me, because it's just like one day I was walking and I could have lost my life right then and there, and just like, I don't know, like after that moment, my mind was just all over the place. Like, damn, I could have been a statistic right then and there. Yeah, that's all I had to say.
It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. What do you say to someone that's facing that every day? You know, that not only just peer pressure, but societal pressure, just things that are going on that are out of your control.
Use it as a motivational tool, because there's whatever we do, there's going to be some type of struggle. So if you understand that your environment is difficult, find a way to get out and go back and make a change, because you have to look at it this way. If you don't, and everyone constantly takes the mindset, this is the way it's supposed to be, it'll never change. So you have to determine how much work you're going to put into it and go back and actually make a difference yourself.
And it is work.
Yes.
Nothing comes easy.
Not at all.
Okay. Do we have any other question? One more question?
As a mentor, how do you explain to young men and women how to solve problems, like difficult problems, family issues?
Did you hear that?
Could you speak up? I couldn't quite hear the whole
I
question.
said, as a mentor, how do you explain young men and women how to solve family issues or difficulties?
You said family issues or difficulties?
Yeah.
How to solve them.
How to solve?
Yes.
Now, are you talking about as a parent or as individuals that are having difficulties at home?
Yeah, individuals that are having difficulties.
Well, this is one thing, and I didn't understand this until I became an adult. Your parents will never tell you anything wrong intentionally. If they tell you something, it's always for your best interest. Now, we have a tendency to always tell our parents, you don't trust us as kids. But sometimes you have to trust your parents or whoever that's raising you. There's always going to be issues within the family structure, but you have to let the adults solve those issues. Because I have a saying that I tell some of my students. When you're under your parents' roof, the lifestyle that you have is not your lifestyle, it's your parents' lifestyle. So you have to adjust to that and determine what type of lifestyle that you want and then move on. And for the most part, who's ever raising you, they're not going to tell you anything wrong. You may not agree with it, but it'll be in your best interest.
Another comment, another question? Young lady in the front.
I attend Rhinostown High School. My name is Mercy.
Hi.
And I see students every day who are more focused on surviving than actually getting their education. I know some students that don't even know what FAFSA is. They don't even know how to, we live in the age of the internet, and they don't know how to apply for college. They're just so focused on surviving and living, and they don't have time to even think about their education. They're too busy thinking about what's going on at home, how they're even going to get home, and all that thing. So how do we help those kind of people? Because they get lost in the system, because they're just moving along in the grades and everything, so they think it's okay, but they just get lost. So how do we help those kind of students?
Is it the organizations, I think, that what organizations did you go to get help? Partnership?
I did independently. I just went out and started looking for different types of companies that I felt that had the proper unit within to be able to guide. For students of that, you have to show them that there's a bigger picture, because usually if we stay in our own subdivision or foundation and not get outside, it causes from generation to generation. So if you get them to see there's something else that's outside and get them to understand you can do this, because what happens when we're just surviving, all we can focus on is today, because you talking about trying to put together a plan and we don't know how we're going to make it through the day. It makes it difficult to say, well, I need to get good grades as well. But if you can show them personally, if you can just channel your thoughts a little differently and see what you can do, if you decide to go to college and if you get better grades, that your world will gradually change. And like I said, for me, having degrees, I've been able to meet people that I thought that were untouchable, like I said, to come on this TV show, and it was all because of an education. So it opens all kinds of doors and presents opportunities. So someone has to show them the way, and that possibly could be you.
I'm going to throw it out to some of the adults in the audience now with organizations. Can you share with us what your organizations are doing to help youth? And I see a young lady right here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tanya Barnett. I started a nonprofit, Forever Free Books, and we do free literacy events in the Maryland, D.C., Virginia area. And what I would say to you is I heard what you said about calling different people and trying to get some assistance as far as mentors and programs. I didn't find any of that, so I started my own. And so I would say to you, while you were talking, you have leadership skills just sitting here talking to you, the way you carry yourself. You can start a club. You can start something where you bring those students in at lunchtime. I don't know what type of time frame you have of downtime at school. And that's something, that's a legacy that you can start today. You can go home, write it out, journal it or whatever. Tomorrow present it to your counselors, because what I'm finding is I have a daughter who's 15, and the counselors are so inundated with whatever's going on at school, the students do get lost in the shuffle. That's just true. That's just the reality of it. But thank God, my children have a parent who's fully engaged and aware, but there are students who are lost in the sauce. So what I would say to you is, tomorrow, go to your administrators or your counselors and say, hey, this is something that I'm seeing in the school. I'm willing to be the one to start the process of bringing other students along. Can we do this?
That's great. We got another comment right behind.
I'm going to address this to Mercy, since I brought Mercy. I'm at Randallstown High School, and I'm here to say, if that's what you want to do, we'll do it tomorrow. That's all we have to do, say the words. And to all those students out there, as you said, sometimes you'll call trying to find someone to mentor. Often in your own school, there is someone that you can turn to, who you just need to find them and talk to them. You are never alone. I don't know very few teachers who are in that building, if you came to them and need someone to talk to, that they will not listen to you, and if they don't have the answers, will point you in the right directions. So to all of you out there who is struggling, trying to figure out who can I talk to, go to someone. And to all the educators out there, listen to your students. Please listen to them, because sometimes it's not what they say, you can see it in their body language. Sometimes when they walk through that door, you can tell what kind of day they've had before they even sat down and you started your lesson. So just listen and look, and don't be afraid to embrace them.
Can I follow up with a question with you? And what are some of the signs that you might see that would identify an at-risk youth?
This is funny. I remember going to a presentation, this young man said, and I will never forget, he says, every child is at risk. Every child, every adult is one decision away from being at risk. So, we have to be mindful of what we say, what an at-risk child. Some are more at risk, but every child is at risk. So that's why we have to pay close attention, and that's why some of them get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Because we'll think, oh, this student is doing well and they're getting straight A's. Doesn't mean they're not at risk, because they may have so many pressures of trying to keep up the good grades. So I think that's very important, that just be mindful and listen to every child. All children are at risk.
I think you struck a chord. I've seen a lot of nodding heads here, and some more comments right here. Thank you.
In Baltimore City, I'm a part of a lot of organizations I either run and or consult with. Specifically, I have 3 of my mentees with me, and Sam Greer is one of my mentees. Speaking upon education within itself, like what a lot of people or oftentimes does not notice is that before you can get to school and learn, you have issues at home or in your community. So personally, I came up in the city, and a lot of people that I work with on a daily basis grow up in situations and circumstances in which they're not thinking about education, they're thinking about surviving. I have to make it through the day. I don't have food at home. I have to find a way to eat. My parents are fussing and fighting. My community is trash. You're living in a war zone in a sense. In Baltimore City, we are considered a third world country as far as trauma is concerned. I run an organization called Walks of Art, which is art-based in Baltimore City. I'm one of a handful of trauma-informed care certified organizations that deal with children and or adults at the basic level of trauma. When you leave out your house, something could occur which changes your mindset, the way you act in school, and then which later could affect you in your adult life. We're addressing education, and it's vital, it's needed. You have to learn, but before you learn, you have to deal with other aspects of life in order to get your mind frame in that set. And what we in my work, like I sit on the MBK task force for Baltimore. I'm a part of One Baltimore. I sit on Baltimore's Promise Mentor Action Committee. I'm a BME community manager. Like I have a lot of roles, so I see a lot of aspects from childhood to adult age individuals, and I see adults who are dealing with the same traumatic issues that these kids right here deal with because they were never addressed. And they are the adults that may not have had finished high school. These are the adults that are 30 and 40 and 50 years old. They could be my grandparents who are still making minimum wage jobs, who I read better than and stuff like that. So I think if our focus is education, we have to have a worldview and something that addresses every aspect of life, because we have to learn in every aspect. Surviving is learning. And if I'm learning to survive, that may negate the fact that I need to learn and be educated to ascend in a career path or something like that. And I think a focus on education, especially in Baltimore City, because as you said, we do have one of the lowest rates. Maryland is a tremendous state because we are one of the top states in the nation for education and testing, but Baltimore City is the lowest and consistently the lowest scoring. Baltimore City is the lowest scoring area in our state. And I think it's a conundrum that needs to be focused on. And there are a lot of, and to the young lady that goes to Randallstown, or individuals looking for organizations, there are a lot of organizations or individuals around that you do not know of. I run an organization in which 33 black men in Baltimore City run 33 organizations that you would never know of unless someone told you. But they've been doing it for years out of their own time, talent, and treasure. And it's just things like that. We need to spread word of mouth. All of them, they deal with a bunch of stuff, a myriad of individuals, a myriad of aspects in life. And it's just things that we need to be known about, made aware of, and we need to teach these kids that, as you said, education is important. It's not about hooping or selling drugs. Like, you have to, and I wanted to speak, like, meeting them on their level. Like, I'm older than them, I have some experience, I have a career, but I'm not any more better than them. I've been where they were, so I can't talk down to them. I meet them at their level. And when they get comfortable with me, then I can get comfortable with them and show them a different way. Like, I'm living what I'm showing them.
And there it is again. You're talking about listening, letting them have a voice, offering them support. And there are organizations that are participating in this event today that will give you some of that support and help. And we're all here to help you. This has been a wonderful conversation. Really appreciate all of you coming out. Is there anybody else that had a comment that they wanted to say? See this one.
Go hi. I too go to Randallstown, and something that I've seen that has been so promoted is that having a job or career in computer science or engineering is like the big wow. Like, that's the most is gonna get you the money. That's something that you should be geared and majoring in. But I wanna be a writer. I wanna be in the arts. But something that bothers me so much is that when we have people come from colleges and I mention it, they just brush past me. They don't see that writing or anything in the arts is a real career. And as a personal struggle, my parents believe in me, that's good. But when you hear it from administrators and counselors, it kind of lowers it. Like, maybe I should look at something else, or maybe I just should not be a writer at all. And that took me to a stuck point and almost into a low depression. So I felt like writing is not gonna be a career, but it helps me. And I love to do it. So I think when you do have people that talk to you about college, something in the arts, or that may not make a lot of money, should be mentioned. You can have a job and make a lot of money, but that's not a career to me. A career should make you happy. You should get up and to wanna go to your job and be happy every day. I mean, money can only get you so much, but if it doesn't make you happy, if it's not internal, it's not worth it to me. So something that should be important when you talk about at-risk youths, I have a good family home, good parenting, good everything, but I did go through depression because of the fact that the community and my environment in school and people that kept lowering me that I couldn't be in the arts made me so sad. I'm sorry for scratching, I'm so sorry. And it put me in a really stuck point,
but I kept going. I met new people that were into the arts, and I did talk to teachers such as Miss Johnson, who helped me believe I can be a writer. I can do both. It's all good. So I think it should be important that colleges talk to, mentors talk to students that you just don't have to have a career that makes you a lot of money, that you can have a career in the arts.
Thank you for that. And I want to tell you, don't let anybody steal your joy or your dream. You keep writing. You keep writing. You got a comment right here. Uh-huh.
Hi, I also go to Randallstown High School, and I guess my question is, Martin Luther King asked one time, what is your life's blueprint? And I know what my life's blueprint is. My question would be is that I know that the adults say today that we are the next generation. How do we get the adults to listen to the next generation who are like me and like my friends who know what our life's blueprint is, but we know we need them to take the necessary steps to go farther?
That's a great question. Does someone have an answer here for me?
Unpacking a part of that. My name is Gerald Bratcher. One of the things that we do with our students at Waverly Elementary Middle, because we know the title teacher or educator doesn't really, I guess, suffice for the role that they have to carry. Some of them have to be like parents and guardians and social workers and even mediators or facilitators of the issues and concerns that students have. So we spend our morning doing rap sessions with the students, or almost like a temperature check for the day, just to really understand where they are. And we set up our classroom, in which I encourage many folks to do that, but to set up the classroom like a communal family and come from that approach and mindset, because before the child can get to a point, or the class can get to a point of teaching and learning, we just have to make sure that the temperature is right so that everyone can move forward in the same direction. And sometimes you have to unpack. Some days are happy, or we call them sunny, and some days are just horrible, and we call them stormy. And just finding out and digging at those issues, and then working to provide them with some support and some services, and then also some tools to help them get through the day. And then also in that, also looking at the skills and the talents that they have, because we can use that for this young lady like her to be able to find a resource that will fit to that skill, to help her to be able to have a platform to express herself and be able to empower her, not only for life, but also for learning as well. And so the education, school has to also be a family, and it also has to be reflective of the community, and with that also reaching out to the community for supports and services, not just from a financial perspective, but also from a service perspective. One of the things I talk with our fathers about is when they come in and they meet with their child or their son, not to just interact with their son, but also interact with another child in the class. The students just love the interaction of an adult, and that's infectious, and that will relate to them because the child has a correlation or relationship with that child who has a father who's present and who is there, and so they'll be encouraged in that way. And so we have to just think outside of the box as educators and as social workers. Everyone in the school is a social worker. Everyone in the school is a teacher, and so we have to use those moments to really harness and hone in on how we can best support the students.
Thank you for those comments. Very interesting, because we put a lot on teachers. Who else can we enlist in the community other than teachers to help get our kids to that goal and have them realize their dreams? Do we have any ideas on that one? There's a young lady back there with her hand up. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, yes, my name is Diamond. I'm with the Inner Harbor Project, and for the youth that are in the room, your voice is very important, and I know from being a youth myself and just recently graduating high school, it's hard to find someone who listens to you, to hear you out. However, one thing that they do not teach and do not stress is that you are the next generation. You have the power to change everything. They need to teach youth agency. You have the power to make the changes, and that you can come together within yourself. And I work with an organization that is all for youth empowerment. It's youth-led, youth-organized, youth-run. We have adult facilitators and adult standby for help, like Sean. He helps us with our career aspect. We have an academic advisor on site, but we deal with everything from careers, academics, to social justice issues, and it's all youth helping youth. These guys over here, I'm a youth executive, he's a youth associate executive, and then Sam over here is a youth leader. Sam's in high school. What are you, a junior? A junior, and Desmond and I just graduated last year. So it's youth, teaching youth, building youth. That way we can build this next generation with each other, because that's who we're going to be talking to 20, 30 years from now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. We have one more comment over here. One right at the corner here. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I work with an organization called Advocates for Children and Youth, and one of the things that we're really concerned about that has been in the media this week a lot is the role of school police in our schools, and the fact that our young people are facing significant police contact in the school system every day, and it's pushing them out, and they're entering the school-to-prison pipeline. And we know that in Baltimore City, we're 9% of the school population in the state, but almost 50% of the school-based arrests. And our school police operate on their own. They're not part of the city police, and there are no policies in the school system right now, and there's no data collection about what's happening. And it's something we're working to change, but that, you know, I would love to hear from some of the young people here about their experiences and what we can do to make the schools feel like a safe and welcoming place for our young people.
Place for learning instead of...
and where they can learn and not feel threatened and feel that they might be pushed out.
Comments? Well, I think we got a young man here.
My name is Fia. I go to Margaret. I myself, I'm like a teacher, not really a teacher, but a teacher at a school. It's an after-school program called Two Displays, and I teach French because I know I speak French. And yeah, and so because I work with younger kids like 6 and 7, so I teach them French, and some of them come to me and talk about how it's difficult for them to do things, because in school they don't teach them things different things they don't understand. So, because most schools don't have French classes or ESOL, and when I first came to America, to the school that I go to right now, they told me that they used to have French, but they stopped it, and I was like, why did they stop? Because most kids need to learn another language, because they told me that if you grow up and you can help other, you get paid a whole lot of money to learn. But it's not really about money. It's about kids learning different languages. And like me, I'm just learning English when I moved to America. Yeah. So it's about helping kids to know more about different things that they're doing now. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yes. Someone that we haven't heard from. Let's see. This gentleman right here. Yeah. Thank you. You right there? Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Desmond Campbell from the Inner Harbor Project. I was just listening to what you guys were saying about things you struggle with in high school. Like the young lady in front of me said, I like to write, but I like to write music. And so growing up, that was always my passion. I probably could sing before I could develop a full sentence. So as I got of course in middle school, I was always encouraged to express my creativity. But in high school, it's the aspects of education shifted, and it became less about what you enjoy, what you love, or what you feel like you were born to do, and a lot more about what will make you the most money. And so in my 11th grade year, I was extremely depressed about that, because I was like, yo, I do want to make money. I want to be an entertainer that is known, but I don't want to I didn't want to fall plague to the idea of being getting like a typical career or doing what like society felt was the normal thing to do. So I stuck to my guns and continued to write music because that's what I love to do. And now though that I'm in community college, I chose to get a degree in something that will be able to back my musical career, which would be accounting, because I want to manage my own money. So if I have something that I can do along with what I feel blessed to do, then I know that my life will be very happy, like in full. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
So you've got your blueprint and you're following it and working with the system. Thank you very much for that comment. Well, this has been really, really very good today. And I thank you all. There any other comments? Anybody that wants to say something? Let her say her piece.
Thank you all so much for letting me say something. Listening to all of you young people, I mean, you all are your power, okay? Go for your dreams. School is important, but you all have to help one another, okay? And I can see that in all of you. All of you are so bright, you're so articulate. Even our young president right here, and Maya Angelou. I mean, you all have the plan. The thing is to put it in effect. I work with a shelter, Loving Arms Incorporated, and we work with homeless and runaway youth, misplaced youth. And when I moved to this state, it was horrible to see that there were just so many young people out on the street homeless. Who ever heard of a child being homeless? You know, but they're out there, they have no place to go. But within our program, it's not just about bringing the child in and helping the child. You can't fix the child without fixing the family, okay? Because if you fix the child, eventually the child's gonna go back home, hopefully. That's what we want them to do. But if they go back home to a broken family, they're still broke. So to answer, I think, a question that you had too, we help the child. We have after-school programs. We teach them about things in the future, going to college. We have some that have gone to college and in the military and who are doing great. But we fix the families too. And normally we have about an 80% success rate. When we get kids, we get them in there. Our program usually houses for up to 21 days, and most of them don't even take 21 days. But it's something about that magic number. When we get them home, and like I said, the parents come too, because they have to be a part of it. We house that youth, the parent has to come once a week, and we work with everyone, and everyone within that family, and then we wrap around service to all of them, with whatever they need. And even when they leave, we're still there. We have an after-school program as well, where the kids come, and we help with homework, and anything. We have a scholarship program set up for our youth. Anything we can do to help these children. Recently, we just had a child whose parent was in where did we see this child? It was someone's place cross country, okay? We paid for that child to go because we found her father. And she wanted to go to her father, and we put that child in that plane and to her father so that she could have an adult in her life and not be out here on the street, selling herself and just living in abandoned buildings and doing all types of things. Our children shouldn't be out here doing things like that. I mean, they need to be in school where they're being educated. And like you said, young lady, you were saying about the kids not really worrying about getting an education. They're so busy worrying about all types surviving. They shouldn't have to be worrying about surviving. We're parents. We're adults. That should be our job, not the children, So, but I believe with all these different organizations and programs out here, if we all can partner and come together and not make it so much about ourselves and put our children in the forefront, I believe this will be something great. Great God, I mean, we got to put him first. But I believe it'll be something magnificent. I mean, I want this to happen because, my God, I've never seen anything like this before in my life until I moved here. I never even heard of it. This is horrible. And it just breaks my heart. I love all you children, and I am so proud of you. My goodness.
And I'm proud of all of you, too. Thank you very much for coming out. This has been a great session. I'm glad that the voices were heard. People are listening, and there are organizations that are here to help you. And remember, If you want to nominate someone for the American Graduate Champion, please go to americangraduate.mpt.org and nominate someone that makes a difference in their community and has made a difference in your lives. Thank you very much, all of you. And thank you, too. Excellent job.